Tamily. It's time for our 70th Ask Tamily interview. 70 interviews. Oh my god. Our guest today is Danielle. Her Instagram name is McDanceLove68. Now, just take a second to connect. Oh.
I'll move this back.
I'm
I'm looking at you. Can you hear me and see me okay?
Absolutely, it's perfect.
Good. Awesome. So
thank you so much for being our 70th Ask Tamily interview.
I know. I can't believe it. Sorry, I'm moving around for a minute. Lots going on here. I know. I am so excited. I think that I have a little bit of butterflies, which is kind of interesting because I'm generally pretty gregarious. But, you know.
It's funny. People are usually nervous in the beginning. And
yeah.
it's no big deal. And then I got interviewed and I was like, oh, I'm all set.
I know. I saw that.
But it'll be fine. We're just going to talk about Tracy. And
exactly.
It's just the Tamily.
I know. My homegirl's signing on already. Hi, Karen.
Yeah, there's lots of people already watching.
Yay.
So, obviously we have some questions planned for you, but we will also ask questions from the chat, and that's always the most fun. So, Everybody that's watching, please type in your questions. But we'll go ahead and start with some of the planned questions. And our favorite one is, when and how did you start with the Tracy Anderson method?
Okay, well, I wrote most everything down because I have to. I'm so thankful for our cell phones, our calendars, and everything, because everything has to be written down all the time. I have short-term memory loss, so I'm constantly. So last night I was up late. All right, so here we go. So I believe I started in about mid-2014.
Okay.
And I was doing, I was in bed for about 2.5 years, and I wasn't able to do much. And so I had started doing Kundalini yoga. I did yoga for a long time. And I read an article somewhere, I don't know where, and I love Madonna. And it was, and it showed how Tracy had helped Madonna during this time. And Tracy said, just give me 30 days and don't do anything else during that 30 days and see what I can do for you. So I'm like, okay, I'll try it. I was starting to have enough energy to be doing some kind of activity again. And so I went to Target, which I know Karen was just at. She might be there still. And I got some of the, let's see, what did I get? I got her first one, that mat workout. I got precision toning, the first cardio. I love the post-pregnancy one. Never pregnant, but I loved the workout. And I did some of the Perfect Design series. So, I started that, and I was totally hooked. I never went back to doing my Kundalini yoga on a regular basis. I meditate every day, but my activity is definitely all Tracy all the time.
So did you go to Metamorphosis eventually?
No.
Okay.
I didn't. And then so in 2015, probably like late 2015, I started streaming.
Okay.
So I just went from like the DVDs to stream. Yeah.
That's very poor of you.
I didn't know any better, really, so it was very ignorant of me.
Especially because I think then there was only Advance. There was.
Yeah, yep. I mean, and really a lot of times all I could do was the arms, and I really love, and she doesn't really do it as much anymore, but I love when there's like 20 minutes of standing, because my biggest thing is I always wanted to get my arms in shape, so I loved having that. and sometimes I would do that twice and not even do the legs.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was a killer.
Definitely. Especially 20-minute arms.
Yeah.
So is there a particular reason why you chose Tracy like over the yoga and other methods?
It spoke to me right away, and I had a brain disease called primary viral encephalitis, and I have brain damage, I have short-term memory loss, I have all kinds of things, which I can get into later. But when I started doing it, and then especially the streaming, it opened up my brain like nothing else was doing, and it was healing it. And so it spoke to me on every single level, and it was the most therapeutic thing, both like emotionally, physically, mentally, that I could do. So that would be why, and that's why I stuck with it for sure. And I wanted my clothes to fit again.
Correct. That's also another plus.
Right? When I was sick, I gained about like 25 pounds, I think.
Okay.
Like I said, I was pretty much bedridden for a couple of years. So I didn't do a whole lot, and I didn't gain a ton of weight because I couldn't eat very much.
Okay.
So, but still, my clothes weren't fitting. So yeah, that was a big motivator.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to go into maybe a little bit more of like your results, both the physical and the non-physical.
So let's see. I'm almost back to my pre-encephalitis body, which I'm stoked. I don't own a scale, and I haven't owned a scale since I became an adult. So for me, it's always just been about my clothes fitting. And plus, I would go to the doctors all the time, so they weigh me, so I don't have to. But the clothes, the results, just mostly my brain has been the biggest thing. The emotional aspect of it has been amazing. One of the side effects of the encephalitis was pretty major depression, and so it really just helped me kind of in a way just go towards the light, just making it in a beautiful way. So I think another really huge thing physically, I'm glad I wrote this down, I had to look at my notes, I'll just touch really quick on what encephalitis is. Inflammation of the brain. So you get an infection in your brain, and your brain swells so badly that if it's not caught in time, you die, because your brain, we have a skull, so eventually it hits so hard onto the skull that the brain, it splits, and kind of, it also hits on the spine. So so my brain started to split open, and it's after probably about like 2 years into streaming, it started to seal. And so, I literally started to seal, and so now I always point here because it's the frontal lobe, but I have scar tissue that runs through it, but it actually sealed, and it was like during that time, so that's a major result.
That's unbelievable.
And another amazing result, thanks for letting me just kind of go on it here, but is that one of the things that happened, I got sick when I was 34. I'm 44 now. And I instantly went through menopause, right? So this is a bit of TMI for everybody. And exactly, right? So at 34, I went through menopause. I had all the hot flashes. I had no period anymore. And for 7.5 years, I had nothing. And about 2 years, two and a half years into streaming, I started having a period again. Yeah, right? So, oh, and the neurologist had said when I got sick, my body was telling my brain was telling my body that I was like 70 years old. So that's why it instantly put me into a 70-year-old mindset, why I stopped having my period. And so really, I see it as my brain started getting young again. And, I think like if that should be a motivating factor for a lot of people to do this workout, right? Because you want to feel young, you want to feel the energy, you want to feel all of that. And I'm like physical evidence that happens. Absolutely. And yeah. I mean, it kind of sucks though, because it's like I'm 12 or something again. Like I get PMS. I never got PMS before, and now I did. So maybe my brain's 12 now. I don't know.
That's not a bad thing.
So those are my results.
Thank you for sharing that with us. That's like a really, really powerful story, and just shows, how strong you are to get through all of that and be, where you are now.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel super blessed. It would be, I don't want to get overclimped, but it was the number one thing, that healed me. Anyways, next question.
Right. Now let's do something funny. I don't know if I have any funny questions.
Oh my god.
Who in the Tamily inspires you?
All right. Well, I have a list. Let me find that list. What did I do with it? Oh, ta-da. All right. Well, there's a lot. And so I wrote some names down. And then I saw earlier today that Alexandra had wrote a question wanting to know who I had met. So I'm going to kind of include that with this. So I'll first start with the people in the Tamily that I've met. And so they all definitely inspire me. So Karen, Kimberly, Tony, she goes by Tony. I can't remember what the last part is. She's not really on it very often.
Okay.
She's from Germany.
Okay.
And the crazy thing about her is her sister-in-law got encephalitis earlier this year.
Oh my god.
So she was able to reach out to me about it.
Wow.
Yeah. Crazy.
Wow. Yeah.
I met Adita, Kristen, Sharona, Tracy, not Tracy Anderson, but Tracy England, Maria, Golsa, Catherine, Rochelle, Carlin, Jill, Alexandra, Jody, Eva, Sharon, and Gillian. And so those are all the people I've met.
That's amazing.
Luckily, I live by 2 of the studios in LA, so that makes it easier. It's like, oh yeah, you want to go to work out, so and yeah, I mean, I've met literally, people from around the world.
Yeah,
it's crazy, and like Karen just stayed with me last week.
Oh.
And, we had never met in person before, but, she comes and it's just like, we're amazing friends. And of course she fell in love with my puppy, so
of course
they'll be back. And then other people that inspire me is you and, just the fact that you started this, and Nicole, of course, and she has the coolest name of spelling Nicole ever. So I appreciate that a lot. My beautiful Rebecca, who lives in New Hampshire, her and I talk on the phone all the time.
Aww.
And, we've never met in person, but she is someone that I love dearly and can communicate super openly with. Let's see, Miha, who I call my Michelle. She lives in Italy. Tally, who's in England. Aaliyah, who is in Iran, who I just heard from last night because, you know, they have the internet blackout in Iran right now. So I was a bit worried about her, but she was able to get on for a moment. She didn't know how. And so she let me know that she's okay.
That's
And her little daughter, Roxana, who she asked me to help pick her name. So I got to help pick Roxana's name.
cool.
I know. So this is crazy, right? And Natalia, who... this painting behind me, oops, there you go. She had that made for me. We've never met in person, but I had a painting made for me, which is pretty gosh darn cool because I love her son, well, I love her and her son Noah, and I sent him some cool t-shirts because, you know, why not? Bianca, who I just read her book, she's in Australia, and she has a new book coming out. Mateja and Gala and Muna, Melissa, and Tiffany, and Sarah, and Mara, and Rachel, and Becky, and Colleen, and just so many people. Are we up with time probably now at this point?
We have plenty of time. You have this list.
So, yeah, I mean, in that list, I've been able to meet, like, half the people. Oh, and Gillian, she moved to San Diego, and I've stayed at her place in San Diego. Wow. And she met my best friend by coincidence in San Diego.
Oh my God.
And they're friends. I know. It's like, I always say, I mean, if the world was ruled by the Tamily, there would be peace on earth. Do you know what I mean? So, we got to take over sometime.
Yeah.
There you go. I wrote it down.
That's amazing.
And anyone else that I just love every single day. And whenever I write something on someone's post, I don't do it as often as I like, but I really, I always want to really say something from my heart, you know? So sometimes they're like novels that I write on someone's post, but what are you going to do?
Well, we definitely appreciate your family spirit.
Thank you. All right. Next question. Sharona, Ashagatham. So, real quick, so I was raised around a big Persian community.
Okay.
In Orange County, California, where I'm from. And we have some really cool Persian sisters. So, they've made me an honorary Persian. Farsi is, yes, I'm honorary. Farsi is my favorite language. And it was created, I think Tally actually created it, Ashega Tam, with T-A-M at the end. Ashega Tam means I love you. So we created I love you with the letters T-A-M, and we always do that in capital letters. So it's a little Persian I love you within the Tamily.
Aw, that's so cute.
So if you ever hear that or see that, that's why. It means I love you.
I will remember that for sure. Did we answer Alexandra's whole question?
Yep, that was part of it. So the first people that I spoke of are the ones that I met. I met 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 people.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is. I'm cool like that. What can I say?
You are. You really are.
Plus, I have a lot of time, so I can meet up with anyone whenever they want to.
Well, we'll have to coordinate sometime.
I know. Get on the West Coast.
I was also going to ask if you have any workout partners, so I imagine you work out with a lot of them, but you must also go to the studios sometimes too?
Yeah, so with them, I've only really ever worked out at the studio, not in my home. I have crazy animals, so, and like, it gets a little bit crowded, and Buddy, my one dog, is doesn't do well with people.
Okay.
That much, so we don't really do too much here, but I have done a few, like with Rochelle and Carlin, they actually rented a room at a yoga studio one time in Orange County. So, and then with a big, huge screen, we had, up there, and they invited a couple of friends, and we got to do it together in like a heated yoga room.
That's awesome.
So that was really cool.
Yeah.
And Alexandra and Rochelle and Kristen, we did it outside overlooking the ocean in Dana Point here in Orange County.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
I know. Come over. I have an extra room, and you're great with dogs, so. But
yes.
We'll recognize that. You can kick his butt anytime.
So obviously you've been to a studio. Have you been to a Vitality Week ever?
I have not. I cannot. I have what are called tonic-clonic seizures. What used to be called grand mal seizures, the ones where you're like really flapping around. And they can be caused by overstimulation. So those days would be too long, too many people. Like some of the Tamily have gotten together and gone to the studio here in LA, and I haven't been able to do that just because it would be too much for me. Okay. But I just live vicariously through you guys. You were at the last one, weren't you?
Last August, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Gotcha.
And they are definitely overstimulating for sure.
Right, yeah. So just be overstimulated for me.
Right. We can tell you all about it. And
exactly.
Then,
I look at all the videos. Yeah.
Yes. What is important to you about your workout, and what motivates you to keep doing it regularly?
Let's see. My favorite thing I would say, and it might sound like what everyone else says, but is the community, of course, the Tamily. It's, in adulthood, we tend to get more narrow in our communities because, we have so much we have to do, or going to work, family, all that kind of stuff, that it can be harder to make really good friendships as an adult, I think. But this community has just been just off the hook amazing. Like, when I've been so blessed to meet so many people, and it's like I know them, and I do know them. It's just I'm finally getting to hug them in person, right? But I know them. So my favorite thing is definitely the community, and I love the new content every week. I think that has really helped my brain heal. So you don't get stuck in one way. And I've had to challenge myself to make sure that I push myself when sometimes I might not want to. And doing the, like knowing I should be doing the attain and not doing it. And knowing that it's the attain that has helped heal my brain so much. Because some of those moves, you like look at them and you're like, what the freak is she doing? Right? Like, almost, actually, I have to say, every week I look at, I'll look at the class, I like how they do the short little rundown now, too.
Yeah.
But I also like to scroll through the class to kind of see it from the back. And, which I love seeing it from the back, thank God for that. There you go. That's life right there. Buddy! No one's allowed to walk by our house, so.
Right, not mine either.
Right. Not allowed to walk by. Anyways, I don't recommend getting Pitbull cattle dog mixes. That's just my advice. So having that new content and every time I think I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to do that, and then I can. And it's amazing. So it just shows like the mind-body connection of what you think you can't do and really you can. Mm-hmm. So I would say that, community and the newness of the classes are my favorite things.
So do you usually stick to attain, or do you switch around? Do you ever do start?
Yeah, sometimes I'll have to do start if, like time wise. I don't work, but I somehow have a billion things to do.
Yes.
I'm like, how do you people work and do a billion things?
Right.
I mean, I know it's possible because there was a time, but yeah, it kind of flips me out sometimes. But so every few weeks I'll maybe have to do a team. Start.
Okay.
And then for the most part, I've tried to do attain, but there were for like a couple weeks, probably like a month or so back, I was doing primarily fundamental for a while.
Okay.
There was some just really, really, really good basic stuff that I was
Yeah.
enjoying a lot. And sometimes I review it too because I've broken these 3 times, my collarbones, 3 separate occasions.
Okay.
So sometimes some of those moves, and they pop, they'll like pop in and out.
Yeah.
Not lovely. So sometimes some of those moves, if I know is not going to be conducive, I'll go to like the slower lane.
Okay. Do you also do dance cardio?
I do like 2 or 3 times a week.
Okay.
I've tried to do that more often. There was a time where I was doing it like once a month.
Okay.
But I'm really in love with the low impact. So that's because I mean, I don't have the bouncy floors. I mean,
Right.
It makes a huge difference when you're in studio. You're like, oh my gosh, right?
Yeah.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
But I don't have them, so the low impact is like where it's at for me most of the time. And I also love the 15-minute ones.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Because then they throw in some weights at the end. I love that.
Yeah. Is there any particular one that's your favorite?
I don't know if any favorite, but I pretty much anything Lashana does, I will do.
Yeah.
And her smile just like kills me every time. Anytime she looks at the camera, she smiles.
Yeah.
And it's so like genuine. I love it. And then it just left my mind. I know I wrote it down somewhere.
I love how prepared you are.
And Shanae.
Yeah.
The ones that she just put up recently.
Yeah.
She did a low impact one. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And then I think she did a catalyst, and I've taken some classes with her, and she's got an amazing spirit. So yeah, I usually stay in that lane.
Excellent.
Oh, and I wanted to mention when I mentioned the trainers that I've been able to meet. Okay, a little bragging here for a minute.
Yes.
And Karen, I hope you're still watching this because she will know what I mean. So, Maria, I've got to meet a couple of times, right? And she's my best friend. So when I saw her last time, we saw I forgot to bring it out. Anyways, the Tracy Anderson catalog or magazine.
Okay.
In print. And so right away, Karen and I walked in, and right away we're like, oh my gosh, we have to have these. And Maria was sitting right there, and I'm like, oh, Maria. She was like, you have to see this amazing article. And I'm like, oh, cool. And so I give her the magazine, and she opens it up, and it's the article about her. We're like, oh, this is the best article for sure. So I asked her to sign it for me. And I said, sign it to the one you love, your best friend. So she wrote that she loves me and I'm her best friend forever. So yes,
So fun.
Thank you, Maria. And then I've met Stacy as well, and she has pugs, and I have 2 pugs.
Aww.
So she's a definite pug lover. We've hung out in the locker room a few times talking about pugs. Mallory and Candace and Rachel and Olivia and Shanae are all trainers that I've got to meet.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
They're all so amazing. That's so
I know.
cool.
I know. It's crazy. They're all so genuinely like happy to be there. I mean, I know we all have bad days, so I'm sure they go to work sometimes with, not the best mindset, but when they're in there, it's so nice, and always hug you, and even if we're all stinky, sweaty, they'll take pictures with you, and I mean, they're just as much a part of the community. So it's really cool. Anyways, we got off track, but I had to brag for a moment. I am a groupie. That's right. I see that, Rebecca. I am a groupie.
You know what groupies too.
I'm not sure. Maybe they're my groupie. You never know.
So what do your friends and family think of the Tracy Anderson method?
Let's see. Well, my mom thinks it's totally crazy. I live with my mom and my husband. About 4.5 years ago, because I've lived most of my adult life in the Bay Area, in San Francisco, Santa Cruz, and Oakland. I moved here from Oakland back down south, and anyways, got a house with my mom, and so she thinks I'm nuts, because she'll come up, and I work out where I am right now in my loft, and it's always set up for my workouts, and she'll come upstairs on her way to the laundry room, and she hears me grunting and groaning, and she's like, "Why do you do this if it makes you groan?" I'm like, "I'm groaning in pleasure, right?" That's amazing. But that's how much energy it takes. So yeah, so she thinks I'm nuts, and my husband thinks, I don't know if he thinks I'm nuts, but they both know how much I need it too. They know it's the time not to bother me, right? That I have to stay in that zone, and they both have seen how much it's healed me, so they're totally for it. But yeah, they think I'm nuts. So I'm sure they thought I was sane before, right?
Well, all of us are. So what is your routine about getting your workout in and fitting it into your life?
Well, since I do not work, I haven't worked in a decade, and I'm hoping to, now that I'm actually healing so much, I'm hoping to start working again. And so that being said, I'm home most of the time. I can only generally go out and do something regular about once a week, and something big once a month. Okay. And so, but my regular day is I wake up, I have to get all the dogs together. Now with our new puppy, he doesn't do well with the cats yet. I have 4 cats as well. Okay. So I have to make sure they're all put away. Get them all together, give my oldest pug his meds, go and take them, then they all go for a walk. We take the 4 together, and then the aliens, aka pugs, we call them aliens here, they have to come back home, and then I take the 2 young dogs on a long walk, so usually about an hour to an hour and a half, and then I usually need to just chill for a little bit, start my workout, and then later on chill, and then later on cook, because I love to cook. So then make dinner, and yeah, that's a normal day. If I'm doing something big during the day, I usually can't talk at night. I only have so much that I can do per day. Okay. So if I have a busy day, usually about by 7 or 8 o'clock at night, my ability to really put thoughts into words kind of goes away. So, but yeah, my normal day is just filled with animals. That's it. I always say, if I believed in karma or reincarnation, I believe in karma. Reincarnation, that I want to come back as one of my dogs, because they're spoiled.
Oh, totally.
Totally. I want to be one of them. I want to sit on my butt. Well, maybe not sit on my butt, but
Right. Do what you want to do.
Right.
Amazing treats.
Yeah. Everyone thinks I'm the best, and I get loved all the time. I mean, Buddy, my pit bull cattle dog, my husband and him spoon. I don't spoon with my husband. So,
Oh, that's funny. The love for them is real. I totally get it.
Thanks. I'm a great mommy.
We also want to ask you, I think I have like 3 more questions we haven't gotten to yet. What is the meaning of your Instagram handle?
So Mick Dance, it used to be just Mick Dance,
Okay.
and I got hacked.
Oh.
And they hacked, and then they sent these like crazy messages to almost to lots of people on my following or followers, whatever. Yeah. And so I just shut it down rather than try to deal with it. Yeah. So now it's Mick Dance 68. So the Mick is because I'm a McCoy.
Okay.
I was born a McCoy, I die a McCoy. That's what I always say. When you have the last name McCoy, it's hard to put it down. And Dance because with my name Danielle, the Dan part, and then dance. I was a dancer for a really long time, for like over a decade. So, and then 68 because that's the year my parents got married, and so that's kind of like why I came to existence.
Oh, that's very cute. I love it.
Thoughts, right?
You never know what you're gonna find out.
Yeah,
that's wonderful.
Thank you.
And how did you discover the Tamily?
Through Instagram, like just kind of scrolling through, and unfortunately, since I don't have my old account, I can't remember exactly when I started like posting and whatnot. I do remember that my first kind of like post for the Tamily was just a after workout picture I took of me and Buddy, and just all super sweaty, and then slowly started doing the videos, and just like everyone says it, but it's so true that the Tamily is so loving and giving and genuine that when you put a video of yourself with like sweat dripping off your nose, everyone thinks you look so freaking amazing doing that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not 100% when I started with it, but I think probably about 2000 and either the very end of 2015 or 2016.
Okay, so like pretty much close to when you started streaming.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't. Instagram is the only social media that I use. Facebook is. I can't have things that have too much going on. Like Facebook has all this stuff on all the whole screen, and I can't do that. I can't concentrate on that. So Instagram is like the perfect amount. Especially I look at it on my iPad all the time. So it's just the right amount of just it's not all flashy in your face.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah. I don't have Facebook either, and I totally agree with that. I was scrolling through to check if we had any questions in the chat, and I don't see any right now. There's a ton of compliments, though.
Oh, yeah.
So at the end of this, you should scroll through and read them. There's like a million hearts.
Aww. Yay. Ladies.
But if anybody does have a question, please type it in now. And in the meantime, we would also like to know what your favorite pizza topping is.
Oh, yes. Thank you. I will share. That it's tomatoes.
That's unique.
Baked on.
Okay.
Pizza. Oh, yeah. I can't have pizza without tomatoes. And that's basically all I eat on it. It's just baked tomatoes. I know. I also wanted to share, I wrote it down too, so I wouldn't forget. Hold on. That my favorite movie is Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Okay.
I have 2 Breakfast at Tiffany's paintings done by different artists, which I love. And I can quote it practically. And my favorite book is The Awakening by Kate Chopin.
Okay.
Not a very known book. I have a degree in literature, so I love to read. But The Awakening is basically one of the first pro-feminist books. It was written about 150 years ago, and I think it was banned for a while because heaven forbid a woman makes her own decisions. So
Right.
that's that and yeah. So yeah. Oh, and I also wanted to mention that there is a great book, and then it was made into a movie last year. It's called Brain on Fire.
Okay.
And it's about this journalist, a true story about a journalist in New York who got a different form of encephalitis. There's lots of different ways you can get it, and it's called Brain on Fire because your brain feels like it literally is burning, and then the girl Chloe Moritz, something like that, is the actress in the movie.
Okay.
When I was reading the book, I would be crying, and my husband was like, "Why are you reading something that makes you cry?" And I said, "It's like she's writing how I felt, you know." And then when we watched the movie all together, and me and my mom were crying because she remembered going through all that with me. So just wanted to plug that. Brain on Fire.
Absolutely. Okay. I think I might have. I don't know if I saw that in like a on-demand thing or something.
Yeah, it was on demand. Yeah, like probably maybe before summertime, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, it's kind of like my story a bit.
So we do have some questions coming into the chat.
Okay.
So Hannah would like to know what makes you happy and when are you coming for a visit?
Shalom, Hannah. So I used to live in Israel, so she knows that I've told her that before. I was there I went first time in 2006, and then I lived there in 2007 for a while. And I was in love with an Israeli. It happens, right? So what makes me happy is, the Tamily. I have, always. My dogs, make me so happy. My kitties too. My dogs are always with me, because they're pack animals. So I haven't gone to the bathroom by myself in years. Right. Buddy, my pit bull cow dog, he knows how to open doors.
Oh.
We actually had to change the front door because he could open it.
Wow.
Yeah. So even if you wanted to go to the bathroom by yourself, that's not
right.
So those things make me happy, and being so much better, like feeling happy is awesome. I mentioned earlier that I dealt with depression for a long time with the encephalitis, and because it changes your chemistry in your brain. And I used to be, and I am again, but I was always a very happy person, and so it felt really weird to be depressed, and I was really I thought that was me for the rest of my life. And when I started streaming and working out, it is what brought me back normal as I could be from before, and it brought back my happiness again, which is amazing. So, and when am I going to come to Israel? Tomorrow, hopefully.
Soon.
Yes, my mom. I have two friends out there right now.
Oh,
and one of my friends goes all the time, so I'll have to hitch on.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds like it's actually possible.
Yeah. She's working on an army base right now. She goes and she helps out over there.
Cool. So Karen would like to know, can you talk about music in your life and how you incorporate it into your TAM practice?
Oh, what a great question, Karen. You come up with the great ones, hon. So music has always been big in my life. Before I got sick, I worked in the recording industry, and I had a recording studio, and then also worked in a company that designs the best recording gear.
Oh.
So music has always been really important. I was a go-go dancer for over a decade, so I was one of those girls that you would see up there. And then my hubby is amazing. He's a philosophy professor, but he plays like 10 or 11 instruments, and he's constantly writing music. He's constantly playing music. We have a piano downstairs, and it's awesome when he's playing. You know, the whole house fills with it. He makes me sing with him. I'm a dancer, but you know, he makes me sing. I try to stick in the dancing lane, but you know, so it's really important to me. And I don't usually ever listen to the music from the class. I mostly like music from the '60s. So usually I'm listening to you know, the Who, the Doors, the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Cream, that kind of stuff. And then if I'm going a bit more modern, I'm listening to Rage Against the Machine, which is still 25 years old.
Please don't say that. I love Rage Against the Machine.
I know they're getting back together for a concert. And
not be old enough to love something 25 years old.
I know, right? And then like for dancing, sometimes I'll listen to like old school Chemical Brothers, Daft Punk, Crystal Method, stuff like that. So that music is very important. Oh, and we only listen to vinyl in my house.
Okay.
Right.
How sophisticated of you.
And again, that's the only thing I'm snobbish about is music. So because I can hear how it's recorded. So it drives me insane, a lot of the music, because I can hear it. I know, like, when it's fake, it drives me insane.
Wow. Really cool.
It's a curse that I wear proudly.
Yeah, it's still a cool thing. Along the same line, Nicole would like to know what your favorite song is.
Oh, gosh. Yes. I think I had it, and then I don't think I wrote it down. How can that be? I have so many, but most of them would be by the Beatles. The Long and Winding Road, I can't get through without crying. But yeah, I mean, stuff from the Stones. I don't know. I'd have to put some deep thought in that.
You might have to.
I'll post. I'll get back to that. But pretty much, yeah. Anything from the Beatles, The Long and Winding Road might be my favorite song.
Okay. Well, you'll have to post that one and confirm for us.
Will do. I'll have my husband play it.
Oh, that would be so cool. Well, that is all of our questions in the chat, and I think I asked you everything. Is there anything you were expecting me to ask that I didn't?
I don't think so. I did want to mention just a little bit more about encephalitis, if you don't mind, while I have the time. I know we have just a few minutes left. But encephalitis means inflammation of the brain. It's when an infection causes your brain to swell. And there's primary, which means it starts in the brain. There's secondary, which means it goes through the spinal cord into the brain. It can also go if you've heard meningitis. They can go together. At first, they thought I might have had meningitis, but they were able to find that I didn't have that. I just had encephalitis, and that it's something where a lot of times, like with brain issues, brain diseases, and all kinds, and even like I see it as like with mental illness as well. Things that are in our brain, things that people can't see, they tend to judge, and they don't know why you might be acting a certain way. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't want it to define who I am, but I also want it to be understood in case, like, someone's looking at me a bit sideways and wondering why I act a certain way or do a certain thing, that there are reasons. So I guess the biggest thing is, like, it's really, I've never really been a judgmental person, but it's even made me more empathetic for, trying to understand people and not judging them just by how they look or are acting at that moment, because you really don't know. And then just a bit with encephalitis, there's I had one of the more extreme cases. So I lived in a hospital, and then I lived in a convalescent home. And I still I have personality changes. I'm not 100% the person that I was before, but in a lot of ways, I'm so thankful that I got it, because it's made me a better person. I might not be as strong in some ways that I was before, but I'm thankful because it kind of stopped me in my tracks at a time when I needed to be. I needed my butt kicked, and this was the way it happened. So I'm thankful for it. Sometimes we need a good butt kicking, even if it's in the brain. And so yeah, it's part of my journey. It doesn't define me, but it helps maybe others understand why I am the way that I am. One of the crazy things too about it is, and this is common with more extreme forms of encephalitis, is you lose the sense of smell and sense of taste. So I couldn't smell. That's another thing with this, Tracy Anderson. I'll be quick. I lost my sense of smell for 7.5 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And with that, you lose your sense of taste. So I never knew what I wanted to eat ever. I had no cravings. Not even for my pizza with tomatoes. I just couldn't ever think of what I wanted to eat. And then about like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, we have our neighbors are smokers, and I swear it smelled like smoke. They were smoking in my living room, and I'm like, God, I have to go talk to them and tell them that they need to maybe smoke somewhere else, because I have asthma too, and I used to be a smoker, so I wasn't dissing. I just needed them to do this. And then it was found out that, and no one else could smell anything. And I now have what is it called? Hyper something or other, which means I can smell things that other people can't.
Oh my God.
And it's only because of this method. So that's the one thing where I'm kind of like, yeah. But it's because your brain, when there's damage in one part of your brain, other parts open up. And so to make up for things that I can't do, now I have an increased sense of smell. So from going to no smell at all to increased sense, and only because of streaming, I know that is why. So I always say I make a great bomb sniffing dog, because I can get out anything. Yeah.
Wow. That's totally crazy.
Isn't that nuts?
Not at all. And to have it come back like that. Oh my.
Yeah. It's a really weird sensation. I can tell you.
Yeah.
One day you can smell again. Now I can smell roses down the block.
Oh my gosh, that is crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Wow, Danielle, you have such an incredible story.
Thank you. I do, and like I said, I'm so thankful for what has happened to me, because it put me exactly where I'm supposed to be right now. It might not be where I thought I was going to be, but it's where I should be.
That's something we all need to understand.
Yeah. It just took a nice big ass kicking for me to make it happen.
Well,
I'm Irish. I'm stubborn.
Quite a tough Tamily member and a great example for our community.
Thank you. I'm gonna real quick. I know we have 5 minutes before they cut us off, so I'm gonna try and walk over here. And for Karen, if she's still on, I'm going to let the Bonzo out. So I've always named my dogs after musicians that start with the letter B.
Okay.
My first one was Bowie. Buddy is named after Buddy Bolden, the first ever known jazz musician.
Oh.
And Bonham is named after John Bonham, the drummer of Led Zeppelin, because he was a freaking nut job. Here he is! Bonzo! Look, your girlfriend Karen's on. Bum! Look! Where are you? There you are! Say
hi, bud!
Oh, look! Bonham!
Like trying to get my dog.
Who's there? Karen, can you see him? He's running around, my love. Oh, I'm covering it up. Bonzo! Bonzo!
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. This is it. This is life. So, yeah, that's for you, Karen. Oh, and then, Eddie, of course, is trying to hump him. So, we're a very close family.
Yes. Dogs are much closer than people.
Yeah, and I'm never alone. So, there you go. Oh, yeah, this is happening.
Aww.
This is my daily life right there.
They're cute.
So yeah, Bottom was under a car. I found him outside under a car in front of my house when he was about 3 months old. And we posted on 4 websites. We contacted the pound, and no one wanted him. I think someone dropped him off because he's very snappy, and he loves children. I think he probably bit a kid. And, he's snapping. He's not biting. But there they are. He's got good snappers. And we got his DNA done, and he is 75% American Staffordshire.
Okay.
The non-working pit bull breed, and 25% Chow.
Oh.
Which is a weird mix.
That is weird.
I don't recommend it. I don't recommend cattle dog pit bulls either. So, I have to be a stay-at-home mom just to deal with this.
Yeah. I totally understand with 2 German Shepherds.
All right, my love.
Danielle, thank you so much for your interview and for introducing us to your pups and for being so open and talking to us about your journey. Is really, really, really amazing. We're honored to have had this time with you. And